This is a story of how an NHL star who completely disappeared from the ice because of a brutal knee injury. For over a year, fans didn't see him play a single game. People started asking if his career was over. Some even said he'd never come back. But Gabriel Landeskog didn't listen to the noise. Instead, he went silent and started working in the dark. And when he finally came back, he didn't just prove he was healthy. He reminded everyone why he was one of the most respected leaders in hockey. Before we dive into how everything fell apart and what really happened behind the scenes, let me know, did you think Landeskog's career was done for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're into real comeback stories like this one, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. If Gabriel Landeskog didn't come back, it wouldn't have just been the end of one player's career, it could have changed the future of the entire team. The Avalanche weren't just losing a forward, they were losing their captain, the guy who wore the C on his chest, the voice in the locker room, the one who led them to a Stanley Cup. Without him, everything could have started to fall apart. And it wasn't just about missing games. Gabriel had been out for over a year. No timeline, no updates, just silence. Fans didn't know if he was healing or if he was done for good. Players moved on, the team adjusted, and when that happens, people forget fast. In a league as fast and unforgiving as the NHL, one missed season can make people write you off. If he never came back, this could have been the quiet ending to a career that deserved more. No farewell, no standing ovation, no last game, just a slow fade out. And the Avalanche, they would have had to find a new identity without their heart, their captain, and the guy who always stepped up when it mattered most. Gabriel Landeskog wasn't just any hockey player. He was special from the start. Born in Sweden, he grew up with hockey in his blood. His dad played professionally, and Gabriel picked up a stick not long after he could walk. But even as a kid, people noticed something different. He wasn't just good, he played like someone much older. Calm, smart, and always thinking 2 steps ahead. At just 16, he left Sweden to chase his NHL dream in Canada, joining the Ontario Hockey League. It wasn't easy. New country, new language, new pressure. But Gabriel didn't complain. He just got to work. And within 2 years, he became captain of his junior team. That alone told you the kind of person he was. Not loud, not flashy, but someone who always showed up and earned people's respect. In 2011, the Colorado Avalanche drafted him 2nd overall. And just 1 year later, something unbelievable happened. At just 19 years old, Landeskog was named captain of the team, the youngest in NHL history at the time. Think about that. A teenager leading grown men in one of the toughest sports on earth. But nobody questioned it, because even then, you could see it. He led by example. He battled in the corners, stood up for teammates, and played with heart every single night. As the years went on, he became more than just a leader. He became the soul of the Avalanche. Through good seasons and bad, Gabriel stayed loyal, pushing the team forward. He wasn't the most skilled guy on the ice, but he was always one of the most important. Coaches trusted him, teammates followed him, and fans loved him. Not just for what he did on the ice, but for the kind of person he was off it. So when his knee gave out and he disappeared from the lineup, it wasn't just a player missing. It felt like something huge had been taken away. And suddenly the Avalanche had a giant hole to fill, both in their game and in their hearts. It didn't happen all at once. Gabriel Landeskog had been playing through pain for a while. At first it was just soreness, then it became a limp. But during the Avalanche's 2022 Stanley Cup run, no one knew how bad it really was. Because Gabriel never showed it. He fought the viento through every shift, every hit, every battle. And when they won the cup, he was right there lifting the trophy with a smile. But behind that moment was something much heavier. Not long after the celebrations, the truth came out. Gabriel needed knee surgery, not the kind that keeps you out for a few weeks, but one that could keep you off the ice for a year, maybe more. At first, people didn't panic. A few months off, and he'd be back, right? But time kept passing. No updates, no timelines, just silence. And that's when the questions started. Media began to wonder if he'd ever play again. Fans whispered about retirement. Even some teammates weren't sure what to believe. That's the hardest part, when people stop talking like you're coming back and start talking like you're already gone. Meanwhile, Gabriel was stuck in the shadows. He wasn't skating, he wasn't training, he was doing something much harder. Rehab. Every day, slow exercises, ice packs, sleepless nights, and worst of all, the unknown. Would the pain go away? Would the knee hold up? Or was this the end? What made it even worse was the kind of injury it was. Cartilage damage. Not a clean tear or break. Cartilage is tricky. It doesn't heal the way bones do. Sometimes, no matter how hard you work, it just doesn't come back. Landeskog knew that. And still he kept going, quietly, out of sight, not posting videos or sharing updates. Just grinding in silence, hoping for a second chance. Coming back from an injury like Gabriel Landeskog's isn't just about healing your body. It's about rebuilding your mind. Every single day felt like a battle. Wake up, stretch, ice the knee, do the same small movements again and again. It was boring. It was slow. And some days it didn't even feel like progress. But Gabriel kept going. There were setbacks. Days where the pain came back out of nowhere. Times where he couldn't finish a workout. Moments where doubt crept in and he thought, what if this is it? What if I'm doing all this and I never play again? That's the part no one sees. The fear, the frustration, the voice in your head that tells you to quit. Oh, but Gabriel didn't listen to it. Instead, he focused on what he could control. He got into the gym. He worked on his upper body. He stayed close to the team even when he couldn't play. He asked questions. He visualized being on the ice again, and slowly, something started to shift. Not overnight, but bit by bit, the knee got stronger. Doctors said it might take over a year. Gabriel said, then I'll give it a year, and more if I have to. He wasn't trying to rush back and be a hero. He just wanted to be ready when the time was right. And after months of silence, a glimpse of hope finally came. In a short update, the Avalanche announced that Landeskog had started skating again. No big speech. No promises. Just a quiet step forward. That moment didn't make headlines, but for Gabriel it meant everything. It meant all those lonely hours, all that pain, all the doubt. It hadn't been for nothing. The comeback had begun. The night Gabriel Landeskog stepped back onto the ice didn't feel like a normal game. It felt like a movie. The arena lights dimmed, the crowd buzzing with energy. Fans had been waiting for this moment for over a year, and when his name was called during the starting lineup, the place exploded. People weren't just cheering, they were screaming. Grown men stood up, kids held signs. Some fans even had tears in their eyes. Their captain was finally back. But this wasn't just about showing up. This was about proving he still had it. The first few shifts were tense. All eyes were on him. Was he skating normally? Did the knee look okay? Would he take contact? And then, out of nowhere, it happened. A perfect pass. Then a clean zone entry. Then a heavy hit on the boards. Gabriel didn't ease back into the game. He attacked it, just like he always did. And then came a moment that reminded everyone he was back. The crowd exploded. Not just for a play, but for the message it sent. A message to the league, to the fans, and maybe even to himself. I'm still here. His teammates mobbed him. The bench stood up. You could feel the weight lift off his shoulders. All those months of rehab, all the sleepless nights, the fear, the doubt, it all poured out in that one celebration. But the most powerful part, it wasn't flashy. It wasn't about stats. It was about presence, leadership, heart. That night, Gabriel Landeskog didn't just return to the Avalanche lineup. He returned to being their heartbeat. After Gabriel Landeskog's return, something shifted, not just in the locker room, but across the entire Avalanche team. He didn't come back trying to be the top scorer or the flashiest player on the ice. He came back to lead, and that's exactly what he did. You could see the difference almost right away. The Avalanche played with more confidence. Their energy was sharper, passes were cleaner. The younger guys followed his example, watching how he positioned himself, how he stayed calm under pressure, how he lifted others up after a mistake. He wasn't yelling or showboating, he was leading by example, the way he always had. Stat-wise, he didn't need to dominate, but he still made an impact. Goals, assists, hits, all solid. But it was the small things that mattered most. Winning puck battles in the corners, blocking shots when it counted, drawing penalties, setting up teammates with smart, unselfish passes. It was like he never left, and the fans noticed. So did the media. Suddenly, the conversation changed. The same people who once questioned if he'd ever return were now calling him the missing piece to Colorado's spark. Broadcasters highlighted how his presence stabilized the team during tough stretches. Analysts pointed out that the Avalanche's win percentage had improved since he rejoined the lineup. But more than anything, Landeskog earned back something you can't measure: respect. Not just from fans and coaches, but from his teammates. Because coming back from an injury like that takes more than just skill. It takes patience, discipline, heart, and Gabriel had all three. He didn't need to remind people with his words. His actions said it all. After everything he'd been through, Landeskog proved that he wasn't just back to finish his career. He was back to lead again, and this time, with even more fire than before. Looking back, Gabriel Landeskog's journey wasn't just about a comeback, it was about growth. Before the injury, he was already respected. A strong captain, a Stanley Cup winner. But what happened during his time away changed how people saw him, and maybe even how he saw himself. Being forced off the ice made him reflect. For the first time in years, he had to step back from the game he'd given his whole life to. And during that silence, something powerful happened. He didn't rush. He didn't complain. He faced the hard truth that maybe he might not return at all. And still, he chose to fight for one more chance. That decision alone added a whole new layer to his legacy. Because a comeback like his isn't just remembered for goals or stats. It's remembered for what it represents. Strength when no one's watching. Leadership when you can't even step on the ice. Belief when everyone else starts to doubt. When you think of Gabriel Landeskog now, you don't just think of the youngest captain in NHL history. You think of the guy who disappeared and then came back stronger. You think of the quiet work, the early mornings, the rehab, the pain, and the heart it took to go through all of it without knowing what was on the other side. That's what makes this story different. It's not just a story about hockey, it's about what it means to hold on to your dream, even when it feels like it's slipping away. It's about patience, trust, and finding purpose beyond the game. Because when you look at players who've left a real mark on the game, it's not just the stats that stand out, it's the moments, the ones that showed who they really were. Landeskog gave us one of those, a moment where he could have stepped away quietly, but instead, he came back and proved he still belonged. But now the question is, where does he stand among today's NHL greats? Does this comeback change how we see him in the big picture? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want to hear the story of another player who overcame something totally different, but just as wild, click on the video right here. Trust me, it's worth it. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss stories like this one.